Only 4.8% of cars on American roads ever reach 250,000 miles. But a Toyota Sequoia does it 39% of the time. A 4Runner, 33%. A Tundra, 30%. Those numbers come from an iSeeCars study of 400 million vehicles, and they tell you something the car industry does not want you to hear. The cars that survive the longest are not the newest, the fanciest, or the most expensive. They are the ones built with forged internals, timing chains, and engines so overbuilt, they shrug off a skipped oil change like it never happened. These are 10 cars mechanics say will hit 200,000 miles, even if your maintenance schedule slips. Let's get into it. Number 10. The Toyota Camry 5.6. Not the 4-cylinder. That distinction matters, and here is why. The Camry from 2007 to 2009 with the 2AZFE 4-cylinder had defective piston rings that burned through a quart of oil every 1,200 miles. Class action lawsuits were filed. It was ugly. But the V6 version with the 2GRFE 3.5-liter engine is a completely different animal. This power plant uses a forged steel crankshaft, forged connecting rods, piston oil cooling jets, and holds 6.4 quarts of oil. It runs a timing chain instead of a belt, and Toyota chose port fuel injection, which means no direct injection carbon buildup clogging the intake valves over time. A mechanic on Bob is the Oil Guy documented servicing a pair of 2007 Camrys side by side. The 4-cylinder had 250,000 miles and looked like a 5-year-old car to The V6 had 315,000 miles and ran like it just rolled off the lot. J.D. Power named the Camry the 2025 segment winner for midsize sedans. If you are shopping the used Camry market, target from 2012 to 2017 or from 2019 to 2024, and always go V6. Number 9. The Toyota Corolla. 200,000 miles is just the warm-up for this car. The engine you want is the 2ZRFE 1.8-liter inline 4-cylinder with dual VVTi and a timing chain. It produces a modest 132 horsepower, which sounds boring until you realize that boring is exactly why it lasts. An engine that never works hard is an engine that does not wear itself out. The E110 generation Corolla was documented past 1.2 million miles, which is the kind of number that makes you wonder if the odometer just gave up and started over. Avoid the 1998 through 2004 models with the 1ZZFE engine. Toyota used undersized piston rings in that generation, and those engines are known oil burners. The sweet spot is 2014 through 2019, the 11th generation. That version has a timing chain, forged connecting rods, an aluminum block with cast iron cylinder liners. Simple, cheap to maintain, and nearly impossible to kill with normal neglect. A mechanical reliability engineer on a Honda forum admitted running 15,000-mile oil change intervals with synthetic oil on a similar low-output engine and hitting 212,000 miles without a single issue. When an engine only uses a fraction of its design capacity, degraded oil causes proportionally less damage. That is basically the Corolla's entire survival strategy. Number 8. The Honda Civic. Mechanics love recommending this car, and the data backs them up. The Honda Civic has a 10.9% chance of reaching 250,000 miles according to iSeeCars, which is 2.3 times the industry average. A 2006 Honda Civic was documented at over 1 million miles on the original engine. The engine family to look for is the K-Series. The K20 and K24 use a forged crankshaft, semi-girdled main bearing caps, and all-aluminum construction with a timing chain. Tuners have pushed stock K24 bottom ends past 700 horsepower with forced induction, and the internals survived. That's how much engineering margin Honda built into these things. For the budget-conscious buyer, the 9th generation Civic from 2012 through 2015, with the 1.8-liter R18 engine, is the sweet spot. Timing chain, IV Tech, dead simple. Years to skip completely are 2001 through 2005, which had automatic transmission failures, and 2006 through 2009, where the R18A1 engine block was prone to cracking. The 2006 model year alone racked up over 800 NHTSA complaints. But K-Series powered Civics from the right years tell a different story. A mechanic on a 9th generation Civic forum put it simply: a friend of his owned a 6th generation Civic and did not take care of it at all. The thing refused to die despite his neglect. Number 7. The Toyota Tundra with the 5.7-liter V8. This is where things get ridiculous. Victor Shepard of Louisiana drove a 2007 Toyota Tundra 1 million miles on the original 3UR FE engine, averaging 125,000 miles a year. When Toyota engineers tore that engine apart at their facility, they scored the internals 99 out of 100 on quality tests. The wear inside that million-mile engine was equivalent to a truck with about 130,000 miles on it. Toyota was so impressed, they gave Shepard a brand new Tundra. Then he did it again. Shepard crossed 1 million miles in his 2014 Tundra on April 9, 2025. The only major repair across both trucks was one transmission replacement, around 860,000 miles. The 3UR FE is built with a forged steel crankshaft, forged connecting rods, and holds a massive 7.9 quarts of oil. That oil capacity alone gives the engine enormous thermal cushion. Toyota subjected it to over 800,000 miles of durability testing before production, and they X-ray scan every engine block during casting. According to iSeeCars, the Tundra has a 30% chance of reaching 250,000 miles, which is 6.3 times the industry average. Target the 2010 through 2021 second generation with the 5.7. Avoid the 2007 model year for defective camshaft castings, and think carefully about the 2022 and newer models. Toyota switched to a twin-turbo V6 that has already had significant engine failures and recalls. That is a major departure from Tundra tradition, and the long-term data simply is not there yet. Number 6. The Toyota 4Runner. The 4Runner has the second highest probability of any vehicle reaching 250,000 miles, at 32.9%, nearly 7 times the industry average. In a 2023 iSeeCars anniversary study, 41% of 4Runners hit that mark. The engine under the hood is the 1GR FE, a 4-liter V6 with a forged crankshaft sporting 9 counterweights, forged connecting rods, piston oil cooling jets, and a timing chain. This engine has been in continuous production for over 20 years, making it one of the longest-running V6 designs in the modern automotive industry. An FJ Cruiser forum expert discussing the same 1GR FE powertrain stated that the percentage of these vehicles coming into the shop with engine failure, without neglect or stupidity as a contributing factor, is negligible. Target the 5th generation from 2010 to 2024. Avoid the 2003 and 2004 models, where early production 1GR FE engines had head gasket issues that Toyota later resolved. If you're finding this helpful, hit subscribe. We break down the best and worst vehicles on the road every week, backed by real data and zero dealer fluff. Now let's talk about one of the most underrated SUVs on this entire list. Number 5, the Honda CR-V with the K24 engine. Carbuzz called the 2006 Honda CR-V the single most reliable model ever released, with only 3.39 complaints per 1,000 units sold. That is an absurdly low number. The engine is the K24A 2.4-liter IVTEC, the same K-series architecture that makes the Civic and Accord legendary. Forged crankshaft, all-aluminum block, timing chain, and conservative tuning that keeps the engine loafing through everyday driving. The CR-V has a 10.6% chance of reaching 250,000 miles, the highest of any compact crossover in the iSeeCars dataset. In the 2023 study, 27.5% of CR-Vs made it to 250,000. Scotty Kilmer featured a 2000 CR-V with 285,000 miles that was still in decent shape. But here is the critical warning on this one. From 2017 and newer, CR-V models switch to a 1.5-liter turbo engine, and in cold climates, fuel dilutes the engine oil during short trips. That is a real problem if you live in Minnesota or Michigan. Stick with from 2005 to 2006 for the best generation, or from 2012 to 2016 for the fourth generation with no turbo. Avoid from 2007 to 2011 entirely, because that third generation is the least reliable CR-V Honda ever built. Number 4. The Lexus GX470. This might be the most neglect-tolerant vehicle on this entire list, and the reason is the 2UZ-FE 4.7-liter V8 under the hood. Toyota specifically chose a cast iron block for this engine instead of aluminum because cast iron handles thermal stress and warping better over extreme mileage. It runs a forged steel crankshaft with 8 counterweights, holds 7.2 quarts of oil, and sits at a conservative 9.6 to 1 compression ratio. But the real safety net is this. The 2UZ-FE is a non-interference engine. If the timing belt snaps because you forgot to replace it, the pistons will not hit the valves. You replace the belt, and the engine keeps going. That is an extraordinary design decision for an engine that uses a timing belt instead of a chain. Toyota essentially built a fail-safe against the single most catastrophic form of maintenance neglect. The GX470 has an 18.3% chance of reaching 250,000 miles, and the IH8 Mud and Land Cruiser forums are filled with stories of 2UZ-FE engines running past 400,000 miles. One Land Cruiser 100 series owner, using the same engine, documented 415,000 miles with minimal issues. J.D. Power named the Lexus GX the 2025 premium midsize SUV segment winner. One known quirk: the rear air suspension on the GX470 fails regularly and runs about $1,000 per side to replace. Experienced owners swap to conventional coil springs for $300 to $500 and never think about it again. Number 3. The Ford Crown Victoria Police Interceptor. This is the only non-Japanese car on the list, and it earned its spot. By 2003, the Crown Victoria Police Interceptor accounted for 85% of all police cars in the United States. These cars were built to idle for entire shifts, sprint to pursuit speed on demand, and survive the kind of abuse that would destroy a normal sedan in 2 years. The Ford 4.6-liter modular V8 uses a cast iron block, aluminum heads, a maintenance-free timing chain, and coil-on-plug ignition. The Police Interceptor version added oversized radiators and external oil coolers for the engine, transmission, and power steering. 2003 and later models got a hydroformed, fully boxed steel frame with 20% more bending resistance than previous years. One Bob is the Oil Guy member reported driving Crown Vics with over 500,000 miles on the odometer that still ran like new aside from burning a little oil. A 2007 police interceptor that used to serve with the Columbus, Ohio Airport Police went 10,000 miles without an oil change. The shop said the oil looked fine. A 1995 Crown Vic reached 630,000 miles according to a cab company. You can still find retired Crown Vic police interceptors for under $3,000 on cars.com right now. The 4.6-liter makes about 52 horsepower per liter, which means it is barely working at highway speed. The body-on-frame construction also helps because drivetrain stress gets absorbed by the frame instead of being transmitted directly to the engine mounts and subframe like in a unibody car. That low stress level, combined with the cast iron block's thermal mass and those factory oil coolers, is why these engines survive treatment that would kill most modern cars twice over. Ford ended civilian Crown Vic sales after 2008. Police and fleet units continued through 2011, and they remain widely available on the used market. Number 2. The Toyota Tacoma. A YouTube channel called iSeeCars tore down a Tacoma engine with 300,000 miles on it. The timing chain looked nearly new. The bearings showed minimal wear. The connecting rods were described as perfect. Carbuzz analyzed the footage and concluded that a timing chain, still looking new at that mileage, is considered overbuilt by any standard. The Tacoma has a 25.3% chance of reaching 250,000 miles. J.D. Power named it the 2025 midsize pickup segment winner. The second generation, from 2007 to 2015, uses the same 1GR FE V6 from the 4Runner. The third generation, from 2016 to 2023, uses the 2GR FKS 3.5-liter V6 with D4S dual injection, which combines port and direct injection. That dual system self-cleans the intake valves, solving the carbon buildup problem that plagues direct injection-only engines. Avoid the 2016 and 2017 model years for transmission software issues and a differential recall, and skip 2005 to 2006 for early 1GR FE head gasket concerns. The sweet spot is 2019 to 2023, where all the early bugs were fixed, and you still get that naturally aspirated V6 with a timing chain and forged internals. Number 1. The Lexus LS400 and LS430. Toyota spent $1 billion developing the original Lexus LS400 with no deadline imposed by company chairman Eiji Toyoda. The development team included 1,400 engineers, 60 designers, and 2,300 technicians. The result was the 1UZ-FE4-liter V8 engine, an engine so over-engineered that a twin-turbo derivative was later certified by the FAA for use in propeller aircraft. The 1UZ-FE uses 6-bolt, cross-bolted main bearing caps instead of the typical 2-bolt design, a forged steel crankshaft with 8 counterweights, and it made Ward's 10 Best Engines list 3 years in a row. Car journalist Matt Farah's Lexus LS400 covered 1 million miles on the original engine. The LS430, which replaced it in 2001, runs the updated 3UZ-FE 4.3-liter V8 engine with the same fundamental architecture. One critical caveat: both the 1UZ-FE and 3UZ-FE use timing belts that require replacement every 90,000 miles. Skip this service and the engine can suffer catastrophic damage. This is the one maintenance item you absolutely cannot neglect on these cars. Handle the timing belt and these engines routinely reach 500,000 miles or more. You can find a clean LS430 on the used market for $5,000 to $8,000, and you'll be driving what is essentially race engine DNA wrapped in a luxury sedan that rides like a cloud.